President Trump now wants ICE officials to arrest 3,000 illegals every day while going after sanctuary jurisdictions. The administration has put cities and counties in 30 states on official notice for defying federal immigration orders. It is all part of the White House's efforts to crack down on crime committed by illegal aliens. We have Griff Jenkins at the touch screen now with more. Griff.
Well, Molly, there is a battle really heating up between the Trump administration and these so-called sanctuary jurisdictions. Let us show you on a map. 34 states plus D.C. 34 plus D.C. This is more than 500 sanctuary jurisdictions. What is that, to remind our viewers? That is a city, state, or county that refuses to cooperate with ICE, with federal immigration officials. And what DHS has done this week is they have identified these 500 plus sanctuary jurisdictions and put them on notice that they are in violation of obstructing federal immigration law. And it is literally from coast to coast that this is happening. Now, Tom Homan tells us that as a result of these sanctuary jurisdictions, which did not cooperate with ICE, refused their detainers to hold them so that they could be removed from the country, there are more than 600,000 illegal criminal aliens roaming the streets of this country. And Representative Tony Gonzalez of Texas tells me that last year there were more than 24,000 ICE detainers denied by these jurisdictions. Take a look at this video, though, brand new into Fox. This is ICE out in San Diego Thursday, taking down 8 Venezuelan criminal aliens, one of which, Molly, was a Tren de Aragua, a TDA gang member. And you will recall that TDA gang members have been designated as a foreign terrorist organization by the Trump administration. So one of these individuals you're looking at could potentially be a terrorist. Now, let me show you, though, our colleague Bill Malusian doing great work. Also on Thursday, you saw a handful arrest in his reporting that included 2 El Salvador illegal aliens, one of which was on the Interpol red notice for aggravated murder, the other convicted of child rape and living feet from a children's playground. You also had a Dominican, Colombian, Guatemalan, Honduran, all of crimes ranging from drug dealing, fentanyl, to child rape. This is in Boston. This is all of this one day, in one day. Now, let me take you to another sanctuary jurisdiction, and that was Nantucket, nearby by Boston, in your backyard, Molly. And we had 40 different criminal illegal aliens arrested, 2 of which stood out because one was a confirmed documented MS-13 gang member, the other a child sex offender. Let's go now. I'll take you out to Aurora. Remember Aurora, where TDA gang members were literally taking over apartment buildings? Well, a tragedy striking there this week. An 18-year-old or teenage illegal alien from Colombia driving more than 90 miles an hour in a hit and run that killed Caitlin Weaver. This young woman had a bright future, a whole life ahead of her, killed by an illegal immigrant who was driving more than 90 miles an hour that should not have been in the country had they not been a sanctuary for him. Now, let me take you down to Texas, Grapevine Lake in Texas. Absolute tragedy. These 2 illegal Venezuelan migrants here. The woman was driving a jet ski. This man tried to help her flee the scene when Ava Moore, an 18-year-old Air Force Academy cadet candidate, her entire life ahead of her, taken when she was killed by that jet ski. Now, what's really fascinating, this, by the way, is 1 week. 1 week. This is why there's such a pressure by the Trump administration. DHS and Stephen Miller going for 3,000 arrests a day. They're averaging about 1,500 a day, which is about double the 700 or so that the Biden administration even tried to do with the worst of the worst. Homan is going after all of them. But how the mayors in these sanctuary jurisdictions are dealing with it, that's interesting. In D.C., Muriel Bowser, she actually in 2019 went on social media celebrating D.C. City as a sanctuary city, as if it was a good thing. She just released her budget this week, which calls for striking the word sanctuary, striking the designation from the city's code. Meanwhile, Freddie O'Connell in Nashville, we've all seen this story. He's not only leaning into being a sanctuary jurisdiction, protecting criminal, violent, illegal aliens, he's also doxing, releasing information of ICE agents publicly at a time when DHS tells us that assaults on ICE agents right now is up more than 400%. One mayor is putting information out. The other senses that this is a dangerous thing, and she's trying to correct that wrong. And Molly, in San Diego, the situation out there, a city councilman today, Sean Elo Rivera, literally taking a snapshot of a ICE arrest and writing the word terrorist across it.
Yeah, it's pretty disturbing to look at. It looks like it's in red ink, the words terrorist written across our ICE agents. And I think, Griff, you've been talking about some of the dangerous suspects that our ICE agents are out there apprehending. Gang members, people that are wanted across the globe for crimes like murder. You talk about in Boston and the greater Boston area, child rapists, sex offenders being brought into custody. They have a very dangerous job. And now they're facing some pushback in communities. And that's creating dangerous situations. Dr. Sapphire.
Yeah, so when politicians label our law enforcement officers as terrorists, not only does this undermine public trust, deepens the division that we already have, but it absolutely puts their lives and their family lives in danger. Not to mention, law enforcement already have higher rates of mental illness, suicide attempts, and suicide successes. And so by doing this, they're already seeing a lot. I mean, think of what they're doing every single day. They're putting their lives on the line for the worst of the worst criminals to try and protect our nation. And yet here you have elected officials calling them terrorists. I mean, what that must do to them mentally is just awful.
Yeah, and I also have concerns about not our elected officials doing this is one thing, but that opens a door, perhaps encourages a greater, broader community to sort of join in that sort of name calling or perhaps be even more aggressive. We've been seeing, and Bill Malusian's been reporting on people in the community stepping in to the situations with ICE. When ICE is trying to arrest dangerous people, the community.
We're talking about the criminal element. We're talking about people. They're here illegally and they're committing crimes. I mean, the horrific crimes that Griff is pointing out there. And they're not going to cooperate them. Democrats will never win a national election again if they continue to protect criminals more than they do victims and innocent Americans.
And that's 1 week that we just laid out there. And let me just say this about the San Diego City Councilman, Sean Elo Rivera. I hope you're okay with ultimately that post calling them terrorists. He then says that the public should, quote, fight back. And he puts on there Rage Against the Machine, getting people fired up as a music bed. That's what gets ICE agents killed.
Yeah.
And should that happen, the Democrat lawmakers like Elo Rivera, and don't forget Governor Tim Walz that's calling ICE Gestapo, Congressman Dan Goldman that's calling ICE Gestapo. This is ultimately putting them not only in danger from assault, but you're going to get somebody killed.
Yeah, it's concerning what could potentially be inspired.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.